Okay then, so alright everybody, peace. Just here with this quick video, just about the Spartans that are portrayed in the movie 300, starring Gerard Butler, about King Leonidas in the Battle of Thermopylae, which was in about 480 BC, and it's just a quick video here that the Spartans are actually children, as the title of this article says. The Spartans are the children of Abraham, brothers of the Jews. So a lot of you may already know this, but the Spartans, obviously Greek peoples, the Spartans were military men. They had a strong military culture. Basically all their boys were born and bred for war, as depicted in the movie 300. So we're just going to go through this article and just see what it says. So as I just said, they are famous for, in reference to the Spartans, they're famous for savage militaristic society built entirely around their armed forces. Spartan men existed to make war. Spartan women existed to make warriors, and Spartan slaves existed to do essentially everything else. They basically had their slave society were called helots, so H-E-L-O-T. And basically, helots were comprised of Spartan men that weren't strong or fit enough to go to war, as well as conquered peoples. So we're going to read further on. It says, and according to the early 3rd century BCE, letter from Spartan king Arius I to the Jewish ruler Onias I. Onias was a high priest of the Jews. A lot of you have read about him in the book of Maccabees, the first Maccabees, which is in the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha, 1611, King James Bible, which obviously isn't included in the conventional Bible, but part of the Bible that was taken out. So we're going to carry on. The remarkable letter from the Lacedaemonian, which is just another name for Spartan, Lacedaemonian king, the official name of the Spartan territory, is presented by the 1st century CE historian Josephus in his book Antiquities of the Jews, as well as in 1st Maccabees 12. So just a few things. Lacedaemonian, or Sparta, was a name of the ancestor. A lot of those times, just like in the Bible, how you have the Jews were named after, obviously, Judah, who was their paternal ancestor, who was their progenitor. Just like Lacedaemonian and Sparta were named after ancestors, the ancestors of those people, who were really from the tribe of Dan. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that later. We'll go into that later. So it follows quote here from Josephus Antiquities. And Josephus was obviously a historian around the time of 1st century AD, who wrote a lot about the Jews that went back into Judea, as it was called at that time, around the time of Christ and just after. So we're just going to read it. It says, Arius, king of the Lacedaemonians, to Onias sendeth greeting. We have met with a certain writing, whereby we have discovered that both the Jews and the Lacedaemonians are one stock, and are derived from the kindred of Abraham. So here, this guy Arius, the king of the Lacedaemonians, king of the Spartans, saying that they're children of Abraham. It is but just therefore that you, who are our brethren, should send to us about any of your concerns as you please. We will also do the same thing, and esteem your concerns as our own, and will look upon our concerns as in common with yours. Demoteles, who is the messenger who brings you this letter, will bring your answer back to us. This letter is 4 square, and the seal is an eagle with a dragon in its claws. So what does that represent? That could represent the serpent, the eagle flying, soaring high in the sky, and the dragon being another cold-blooded reptilian figure, representing the serpent of the Bible, holding it in its claws, symbolizing that it has power over that dragon. So we read on. There is no record of Onias. Onias's reply. As an aside, Onias was the son of Jaddua, the last chronological biblical high priest mentioned in Nehemiah 12 and 22. However, over a century later, 1 Maccabees 12 records a follow-up message sent to Sparta by the embattled high priest Jonathan, attempting to shore up alliances. So as we just read, the letter from Arias, he was just asking basically for help from the Jews, and in return he would offer his help from his people, the Lacedaemonians, to the Jews, because as he stated, and as we're going to find out, they're actually related. So this is going into the theories now. Theories of origin. The site Spartan genealogy is lost to history. A number of interesting theories exist on how or if the Spartans are descended from Abraham. The earliest history of the Spartans, Lacedaemonians, remains a mystery. The earliest mention of the name is on a series of late Bronze Age tablets circa 12th century to circa 13th to 12th century BCE, before Common Era. Okay, William Whitson, known for his translation of Josephus into English as a footnote speculating on the Spartans connected to Abraham. We're going to go into a lot of the ancient Greek history, because to understand what happened to the Israelites after Egypt, as well as after, well, not after Egypt, I mean concurrently with Egypt, because some of the Jews that were in Egypt in captivity, they left Egypt not with Moses, not in Exodus, but elsewhere, and we're going to see about that. But anyway, whence it comes that these Lacedaemonians declare themselves here to be kin to the Jews, as derived from the same ancestor Abraham, I cannot tell, unless as the 17th century intellectual Grotius supposes that they were derived from the Dors that came out of the Pelasgi. Now those two terms, Dors and Pelasgi, those are some of the original ancient Greek people before Alexander the Great conquered in about 330 BC, something like that. But the original ancient Greeks were referred to as the Pelasgi, and we're going to find out who the Pelasgi were biblically, because, well, we'll find that out, but because there are certain references in the Bible that refer to these people. Obviously, Genesis the 10th chapter, when it talks about the children of Japheth, and elsewhere as well, Ezekiel 27. Anyway, these are by Herodotus called barbarians, perhaps were derived from the Syrians and Arabians, and the posterity of Abraham by Keter, another way described after. Well, that's not true. The Syrians and the Arabians, well, for the most part, the Syrians in the Bible were called Aramaeans, and they were Shemitic people. But no, that's not true. And the children of Abraham by Keter, another wife described after Sarah's death. Those people are a lot of the people that we call Arabs today, because the term Arab just means mixed, or to mix or confuse, because a lot of those Arabic people, they're Ishmael mixed with Esau, mixed with a lot of the children of Abraham by Keturah, and a lot of other people as well. That's why you have the term in the Bible Nabatean. So a lot of those Nabateans are just various Shemitic people that were mixed, and they didn't actually know who their ancestors were, so they just called themselves Nabatean. They weren't able to trace their paternal ancestor, because in the Bible, you are what your father is, basically. So if your father was from the tribe of Judah, you were from the tribe of Judah. If your father was from the tribe of Simeon, you were from the tribe of Simeon. That doesn't mean that the mother's ancestry doesn't matter. I'm just saying that you are what your father is. Anyway, another of Whitson's theories is that they derive from Abraham's son, that is of Damascus, the Spartans, Genesis 15. The Spartans, being descendants of Ketur, seems to be fairly standard suggestion. But another interesting theory is that the Spartans were quite literally the brothers of the Jews, that they were descendants of a missing Israelite tribe. Okay. So what happened to the Simeonites? We're going to read what this guy says, and then we're going to go into what really happened to the Simeonites, because, well, you can read this and make up your own assumptions. So, what happened to the Simeonites? The book of Numbers contains census figures for the Israelite exodus out of Egypt. One census is taken at the start of the journey, counting the number of military able men for each tribe. Another census is taken at the end. Overall, the raw population numbers do not change dramatically, plus or minus around 10,000 individuals for each tribe, with one notable exception. The tribe of Simeon practically falls off the map. So, this was the time, the book of Numbers is a time when they were coming out of Egypt, the Israelites were, and they were in the wilderness, of course. What really happened to Simeon is that, due to what happened in Genesis, the 34th chapter, where one of the, I can't remember specifically, is one of the tribes that was dwelling with the Israelites raped one of their sisters, Dinah, Dinah, and Simeon and Levi took revenge on that man and his whole family by murdering them all, basically. And in Genesis 49, it basically says that Simeon and Levi will be scattered amongst both tribes. But when I say both tribes, I mean the southern and northern kingdom. So a lot of Simeon dwell within the tribe of Judah, and as well with the Levites, the tribe of Levi, Levites, sorry, as well as the northern kingdom as well. But we're just going to read on. Simeon started out the journey from Egypt with the third largest tribe, nearly 60,000 military able men from 6 different clans. But by the arrival of the Israelites, in Canaan, only 22,000 remained. From only 5 different clans, what happened to nearly 2/3 of the tribe, including one entire clan? Why the Simeonites hardly ever mentioned at all in Israelite history, in fact, completely omitted from the Deuteronomy 33 tribal blessings. One theory is that a large portion of the tribe broke off partway through the wilderness journey, leaving the Israelite camp, perhaps the catalyst being execution of a Simeonite priest for relations with a Midianite prostitute, and that these became, at least in part, the early Spartan brothers of the Jews. A number of reasons are highlighted for this theory. Okay, so we're gonna stop this video here and continue with part 2. Peace.